The moon whispers secrets to the tide.
The day it all changed. It had been just over a year since we got married. The day started like any other, ordinary. But the words she said that day still echo in my mind. On our channel, every story is inspired by the real experiences of our subscribers and viewers. We create them for you every single day. So grab your coffee, lean back and relax. Because what you're about to hear is a scene straight from real life. Thank you. That day started just like any other, but the words she said, I can't forget them, even after years. Her tone was cold, sharp, almost indifferent. From now on, she said, we'll only be intimate once a month. At first I thought she was joking, but her eyes, they didn't play. They were distant, almost satisfied. Something inside me went silent. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. I just nodded. And in that moment, I chose to disappear emotionally, just as she wanted. From that day, I began counting the days, not until the next touch, but until I could stop caring. A few nights later, the kitchen was quiet. The sun was setting, casting a thin golden line across the floor. She stood with her back turned, stirring her tea. No fight, no warning. Just that same tone, emotionless. Once a month, that's it. I waited for her to laugh. She didn't. She took a sip of tea, left the spoon in the cup, and walked away. The sound of her footsteps echoed in the tiles. Each step broke something inside me. The air smelled like tea and her fading perfume. And I just stood there, half a man, half a memory. That night she sat on the couch, lost in her phone. The screen light drew cold lines across her face. I looked at her, not at my wife, but at a stranger I happened to live with. The silence between us was heavy, not peaceful, not comforting, just full of words that would never be said. Her eyes no longer met mine. Her smile had turned mechanical. Even her good night sounded like a script. So I stopped talking, not out of pride, but survival. I distanced myself, and the less I spoke, the more she started to notice. Days turned into weeks. I woke up earlier, left the house before her. The sound of the door closing became my favorite part of the day. At work, people said I seemed calmer, more focused. If only they knew. I was falling apart inside. When I got home, she was watching shows, laughing at things that weren't funny. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at me through the reflection on the TV screen. But there was no love in her eyes, only curiosity, like she was studying someone she no longer recognized. The house grew colder, not physically, emotionally. Even the walls seemed to absorb our silence. The photos on the wall looked like ghosts of a life that once existed. And then I started noticing small things. New perfume, extra care when going out with friends. But when home, old pajamas, indifference. Her tone was polite, but distant. I didn't question her, because confronting someone means you still give them power. I chose silence, not weak silence, but powerful silence. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. I began to detach. No anger, just peace. I stopped waiting for her to notice me, stopped hoping she would change. And in that shift, I started to remember who I was before her. Nights were the hardest. Same bed, different worlds. Her breath next to me didn't bring comfort anymore, only emptiness. One night I caught her staring at the ceiling. Moonlight crossed her face. No guilt, no regret, just certainty. She was sure I wouldn't leave, sure I would keep orbiting around her indifference. That's when I decided I wouldn't. My silence became her mirror. And in that mirror, she finally saw herself. And she didn't like what she saw, because she realized she'd lost control. Weeks passed, roles reversed. Now she was calling. I wasn't answering. She reached out. I stepped back. It wasn't revenge, it was balance. Then one night, she looked into my eyes and whispered, "I miss you. Can we start over?" Once, those words would have meant everything. Now, nothing. No anger, no happiness, just calm emptiness. I smiled, not cruelly but honestly. "Didn't you say once a month?" It took her a moment to understand. Then she realized her rule had become her prison. That night we didn't speak. She thought. I stayed silent. And in that silence, I found freedom. Because sometimes forgiveness isn't staying, it's walking away. Days later, I found her open notebook on the table. The last line read, "He finally became what I feared most, a man at peace without me." She didn't write another word, because there was nothing left to say. And me, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel small in my own life. That's real freedom. Because when a woman stops caring and you stop chasing, that's when you truly become strong. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care of those who truly love you. See you in the next story. Secrets of Relationships.